Well, her PR campaign is so ridiculous. If you ever just
I think it's horrible. The documentary is so far off on so many different levels.
Go away, Meghan. Go away. Nobody likes you. I personally hate you, and the majority of...
When Thomas Markle Jr. finally broke his silence, it wasn't polite and it wasn't careful. It was raw, sharp, and honestly shocking. He didn't hesitate. He didn't soften a single word. He went straight for the truth as he sees it, and it landed like a bomb. Back in 2018, before the wedding bells, before the fairy tale, before the world bought into the romance, he tried to stop it all. He warned Prince Harry not to marry Meghan. He called her fake, a bully, a phony. He said she would destroy Harry's life, and everyone laughed him off. Fast forward to December 2025, and suddenly, nothing he said sounds crazy anymore. The royal family is fractured beyond repair. Harry is estranged, isolated, and living thousands of miles away from everything he once was. The exit from the monarchy happened. Bridges were burned. And now, the darkest chapter yet. An 81-year-old father fighting for his life after losing his leg in emergency surgery, while Meghan stays silent. Thomas Jr. is the one there. He's the one sitting in hospitals. He's the one talking to doctors. He's the one watching his father struggle to survive. And Meghan, a letter, sent through representatives. No call, no visit, no voice, nothing personal. And that silence, that cold distance, appears to be the final straw. Thomas Jr. says he's writing a book, not about childhood memories, not about petty family drama, but about the years before Suits, the yacht years, the wealthy men, the lifestyle that never made sense, the secrets Meghan never explained. And the man who warned everyone and was proven right is done staying quiet. Back in 2018, while the world was obsessed with dresses and tiaras, Thomas Jr. did something unheard of. He wrote an open letter to Prince Harry. Not congratulations, not blessings, a warning, a plea. He begged Harry to walk away. He didn't sugarcoat it. He described Meghan as shallow and manipulative. He said she would isolate Harry, turn him against his family, and always put herself first. That letter went viral instantly. People were stunned. A brother publicly begging a prince not to marry his own sister. Most people dismissed him. They called him jealous, bitter, a troublemaker chasing attention. The media painted him as the villain. But Thomas Jr. wasn't vague, he was specific. He talked about patterns, about how Meghan used people and discarded them when they were no longer useful. He said he had watched it his entire life. And now Harry was next. He said she treats people as disposable. And that's what makes this unsettling now. Because nearly everything he predicted came true. The rift with William and Kate.
None of us were ever coached or given any help with the paparazzi or press since the very beginning.
The permanent fallout. The endless controversies. Harry's transformation from beloved prince to a man constantly explaining himself. The isolation Thomas Jr. warned about became reality. Harry once had his own identity, his own causes, his own voice. Now in every appearance, Meghan leads. She speaks. She positions herself. He follows. The dynamic Thomas Jr. described years ago is now playing out in front of everyone's eyes. And when someone predicts something that accurately, you have to wonder what else they know. Now it's December 2025 and the family situation has turned tragic. Thomas Markle Sr. underwent emergency surgery after a blood clot cut off circulation to his leg. Doctors had no choice. They amputated. 3 hours in surgery, his leg gone, his life hanging in the balance.
The family name. I mean, she's basically ditched the family years ago, but now the family name is gone as well. This is Thomas Markle Jr.
Doctors watched closely for sepsis. The next few days were critical. At 81, with a history of heart attacks and a stroke, this wasn't just recovery, it was survival. Thomas Jr. lives with his father in the Philippines. He's the full-time caregiver. He's the one holding everything together. He's the one facing the fear. And during all of this, Meghan stayed away. Days passed. Then came a letter, not even directly from her, sent through representatives. No phone call, no video chat, no visit. Think about that. Your father loses a limb. He's in intensive care. And you handle it like a PR situation, through intermediaries, like paperwork. Thomas Jr. didn't hide his anger. He said there was no outreach, no genuine concern. And this wasn't new. Back in 2018, when the media storm hit, the family was left completely unprepared. No guidance, no support. Meghan moved into royal life and they were left to deal with the chaos alone. But this moment is different. This is life and death. And Meghan is in Montecito filming a Netflix lifestyle show about compassion, healing, and family values. While her father learns to live without a leg, that contrast is brutal. And this is where everything shifts, because Thomas Jr. is writing that tell-all now. Sources say this medical crisis and Meghan's response to it is what finally pushed him over the edge. Why protect someone who won't even call when your father is fighting for his life? From 2004 to 2011, there's a strange silence in Meghan's story. She describes it as her struggling actress era. Small roles, barely scraping by, deal or no deal, bit parts on CSI. But during those same years, there are photos. Luxury yachts in the Mediterranean, Monaco parties, wealthy older men, high-end events. She never explained them, not once. Reports say she attended Yacht Week in Croatia, an elite, invitation-only scene known for powerful men and private networking. You don't just stumble into that world, someone brings you in, someone pays, and yet no explanation was ever given. So how does a struggling actress afford Europe? Monaco? Yachts? The math doesn't work. And the photos don't show someone out of place. They show someone comfortable, like she belonged there. And then there's the connections. Trevor Engelson, a Hollywood producer, her first husband, a direct pipeline into the industry. Then Soho House, an ultra-exclusive club where royals, billionaires, and power players mix privately. Membership isn't bought, it's granted. And then Marcus Anderson, a major insider, someone who knows everyone, someone who opens doors. That's how Suits happened. Not endless auditions, not luck, networks. That's how Harry happened too. Royals don't meet random people, they move in curated circles. Soho House is exactly where those worlds collide. So when people ask how Meghan went from obscurity to royalty so fast, this is why. Not talent alone, not chance, access. And now Thomas Jr. says he's ready to refute her version of events, to correct what he calls nonsensical accounts. He's not vague, he's direct, he plans to name details, and the timing is brutal. Meghan launches a Netflix show about authenticity, and her brother announces a book challenging her entire narrative. Family members say Harry served his purpose, the title, the fame, the status. And now, cracks are showing, reports of tension, distance. Thomas Jr. says he saw it coming. Harry gave up everything, family, country, identity, and now people are asking whether he ever truly knew who he married, or whether he fell for the same carefully constructed image the rest of the world did. 3 questions now hang in the air. Who funded Meghan's lifestyle before fame? How did she really land Suits? And what was her true role in elite social circles? If Thomas Jr. answers those with first-hand knowledge, everything changes. Her brand, her deals, her credibility. And here we are, December 2025, Meghan in California building a brand on compassion, her father in the Philippines recovering from an amputation, her brother doing the caregiving, and a book coming that could rip open everything she's worked to keep buried. Thomas Jr. was right once, and that's why this matters. You can manage PR, you can control interviews, but you can't erase memory. And Thomas Jr. seems ready to share his. And here's the part that people keep circling back to because it refuses to go away no matter how carefully it's avoided. Silence only works when no one close to the truth decides to speak. And Thomas Jr. is no longer quiet. When someone who has already been proven right once decides to open his mouth again, the ground shifts. People start listening differently. They stop laughing it off. They start paying attention. What makes this especially uncomfortable for Meghan is that Thomas Jr. isn't speculating from the outside. He's not a tabloid reporter chasing clicks. He's not a random critic dissecting photos online. He's someone who lived in the same family, who saw the patterns before anyone else did, who watched how relationships were formed and discarded long before cameras were everywhere. And that gives his words weight, whether people like it or not. He keeps coming back to the same point in interviews. He says Meghan has always known how to position herself, how to move toward influence, how to align with people who could elevate her and quietly step away from those who couldn't. He says it wasn't sudden. It wasn't something that started with Harry. It was there long before, just less visible because the stakes were smaller back then. No palace, no royal title, just ambition and strategy. And that's why the yacht years matter so much. Not because of gossip alone, but because they explain the leap. Most actresses don't jump from bit parts to a 7-season cable show and then straight into royalty. That kind of trajectory usually leaves fingerprints, connections, sponsors, gatekeepers, someone opening doors. And the frustration people have had for years is that Meghan never filled in those blanks. She skipped over them. She smoothed them out. She turned them into a vague story about hustle and perseverance. But hustle doesn't put you on yachts in Monaco. Perseverance doesn't get you invited into closed circles filled with billionaires and royals. Access does, and access always comes from somewhere. Thomas Jr. has hinted that once his book is out, people will finally understand how those worlds overlap, how favors are traded quietly, how introductions happen behind the scenes. How social capital works when you're attractive, ambitious, and willing to play the long game. He's not saying it outright yet, but the implication is clear. The story the public was sold is incomplete. And then there's Harry. That's where the sympathy starts to creep in, even among people who are critical of him. Because if Thomas Jr. is right, Harry didn't just marry someone his family warned him about. He married someone who had already mastered the art of reinvention. Someone who knew how to present exactly what people wanted to see. Someone who understood image better than substance. People who knew Harry before all this say he used to laugh more. He used to speak freely. He used to push back. Now, in interviews, he hesitates. He looks sideways before answering. He repeats talking points. He seems careful in a way he never was before, and Thomas Jr. claims that's not accidental. He says Harry is managed now, directed, controlled. Whether that's fair or not, the perception is there. And perception is everything when your entire life is lived in public. The more Meghan talks about authenticity, the more people scrutinize what doesn't add up. The more she talks about family values, the louder the silence around her own family becomes. And that silence is deafening right now. An elderly father recovering from an amputation. a son caring for him alone, and a daughter who communicates through representatives. That image sticks. It doesn't fade easily. It doesn't matter how many lifestyle posts are shared or how carefully words like compassion are used. People remember who showed up when it mattered. Thomas Jr. has said that watching his father suffer while being treated like an inconvenience rather than a priority changed something in him. He says it stripped away any remaining loyalty he felt. That once you see someone you love reduced to a logistical problem for someone else, you stop protecting the person who made that choice. You stop worrying about their image. You stop staying quiet. That's why this book feels different from past threats or family feuds. This doesn't feel like noise. It feels like resolve, like someone who has finally decided there's nothing left to lose. And that's the most dangerous position anyone can be in when they hold secrets, because once the dam breaks, it doesn't break neatly. It spills, it drags everything with it, and no amount of PR can put it back together the same way. People keep asking whether Meghan can get ahead of this, whether she'll address it, whether she'll deny it. But denial only works when the person speaking doesn't have receipts, memories, and years of consistency backing them up. Thomas Jr. warned the world once, and the world ignored him. Then everything he said happened anyway. That's why this moment feels like a reckoning rather than just another headline. Because if he was right then, people are starting to believe he might be right now. And once that belief takes hold, the narrative Meghan has spent years crafting becomes fragile. One crack turns into many. And suddenly, the questions she avoided for over a decade are louder than anything she's saying now. This isn't just about the past anymore. It's about credibility, trust, and whether the image people bought was ever the full truth to begin with. What do you think happens next?